in the middle of it, I said to him, I said, them start now. I said, suppose, although I sign the paper, suppose I say to you, I want back my foot. What am I going to do right now? And
I'm Janet Silvera, and you're watching West Side JA. My guest today is Kathi Marie Cooke. Her correct name is Kathleen, but we fondly call her Kathi. Kathi Marie Cooke is one of Montego Bay's most outstanding citizens. And we are extremely proud at Westside JA to have her as our guest. In fact, I savored the moment long before having her. I knew that once she got on the chair next to me, it would probably be one of my best interviews yet. Kathi, thank you for accepting the offer to do this interview.
Thank you for having me, Janet. Remember, I promised you that the first time I get on my feet, really on feet still, but you know what I mean, that it would be my joy to talk to you and give you the first opportunity to tell my story.
I'm so appreciative. I'm also appreciative of the S Hotel for giving us their cafe this morning.
It's lovely.
If you hear any noise in the background, it's the coffee
machine.
Yeah. Cheers to the S Cafe.
Okay.
Girl, I don't know that I want to go straight to your foot, knowing that you have lost a leg.
Yes.
Or should I say just part of a leg?
Part of a leg.
Part of a leg that you have lost.
A little piece.
But because you have had such an active lifestyle. But I don't think that losing a leg has really caused you to slow down much.
No, it hasn't. It has not. And I came out of hospital on the 5th of December. And by Christmas, I was baking, I was cooking, I was doing everything that I normally do in the Christmas season, albeit a little less than in years past.
When you say Christmas season, we're talking about how many months now since you have lost the leg, and how did you lose your leg?
It started out about a year ago with what was a broken blood vessel.
Wow.
And it was just a little dot, probably the size of your finger, on my ankle, and we treated for pain, and then we found out what was wrong, and we went into UA hospital for 2 weeks, and it was supposed to be healing, and it wasn't healing, and then I went back for 3 weeks. That is when I had the amputation, and that was it was a very, very interesting experience, Janet, because I could see the foot itself deteriorating, all right? And they did everything possible because they wanted to save the foot. And it got to a place where it could not be saved. And it didn't make sense for me to continue this trying. And what scared me was just the possibility of sepsis or something like that. And I had 2 young doctors, and they said, if you were our mommy, we would encourage you to have the amputation.
Wow. But first though, Kathi, how did you feel when you were told that there was a possibility of losing a leg? Owing to the fact that you're the
run up and down.
And the breadwinner as well,
the
literally,
breadwinner
for your
of the
mom.
home, for me and mama, and all of that. Hear me now. The most important thing to me was to get rid of the pain. Janet, I feel pain in the night. I wake up and beg the Lord. I say, Lord, just make me no feel no pain for 1 hour. Make me sleep a little bit.
Oh
Lord,
my
me not
God.
begging you for more than an hour. And I know every single painkiller known to modern medicine, in addition to all the bush medicine for calm you down and the whole of it, I had pain.
I cannot imagine being without a foot. I really cannot imagine it. But the way you have made it seem is as if your life is still as wonderful and as beautiful as it was. Tell me about the
Is
experience.
as wonderful and as beautiful, Janet. And from even surgery day, all right, I did a spinal anesthetic. So they put a screen so you can actually see what's going on, but the anesthesiologist is there and he's trying to make sure that you're calm and they're watching your blood pressure and all of that. And he said, you want to hear music? And I said, no, I want to talk to you. And we talked right through the procedure. In the middle of it, I said to him, I said, them start now. I said, suppose, although I sign the paper, suppose I say to you, I want back my foot. What am I going to do right now? And we had such a good laugh about it. And
So you were wide awake when it was
I was
happening.
wide awake, and I said, oh, no, don't know, because you could feel the difference in sensation as to what they were doing.
Right.
But I totally trusted my team because they were very, very honest with me, and I knew every step of the way what was going to happen, and the pain was going to stop. That was the Wednesday night. When I woke up Thursday morning, you know, you get preparation and they tell you that you're going to have phantom sensation and so on. But I didn't have any problem or so on until all of a sudden I have scratching at my ankle. And I just reached down and scratched the ankle and realized that I was scratching breeze. And
You know, I promised myself that I was not going to laugh about this. Because but Kathy, persons might be watching and thinking that I shouldn't be laughing, but you are something
But,
else.
Janet,
It's you, it's the person. It's how positive you look at life.
But it was so interesting too that before surgery I said, is nobody going to counsel me? Because of course I'm reading all these things. And then the doctor says, no, there's no protocol for that. So I cried. And in the afternoon, I had a visit from the psychiatrist.
Oh my God.
And no, you have to hear the psychiatrist story, Janet. Psychiatrist
course.
come down and he says, Miss Cooke, and so on, and he went through all the questions, and it's really the questions that they ask you when they're going to admit you for care. Me not say anything, me accept it, and he had to leave for a moment, and then he came back. And of course, I'm perfect and ladylike and so on. So he comes back, and he has 2 prescription sheets in his hand. And all of a sudden, I say, yo, back off. What you do with prescription sheet? Me no mad. And he said, he explained to me that the sheets were for somebody who needed a prescription, but he had just broken to go do something and come back.
Okay.
So we completed our thing, and I said to him, all right, and I explained to him exactly why I wanted to talk to someone, because it is a trauma.
Yeah.
Regardless of how much sweetness and spirit you have, it is a trauma. And so he said, we understand, and so on. And then, so at the end of it, Mr. Me no mad, don't it? And he said, no, ma'am, I've assessed you as psychologically resilient. So that was that. But Jan, let me tell you one of the things that I want to talk about, separate and apart from the hospital experience, because after that there was further drama and complications. But I want to talk about.
You have been watching West Side JA. We'll be right back.
All memorable moments include delicious food. Good food can transform the ordinary into extraordinary. We welcome more good times together, more memories we won't forget.
Rainforests always I make delicious moments.
But I want to talk about the support.
I want you to talk about this.
I have to talk about the support. I have a friend. We've been friends since I was 11 years old, St. Andrew High School, Joan Andrea Hutchinson. And Joan Andrea was an absolute tower of strength visiting in the hospital. There are some young ladies who worked with me at JPS at the East Store in my day and in Falmouth, and we had a tag team. One of them, Miss Kith-Ann, she came and she stayed with Mama almost all through the times I was in the hospital. And in Kingston, I had Tanaj from Falmouth who came to my hospital bed morning and evening. I had to give her a day off. I had to say, you don't have to plan me, you don't have to come tomorrow. And she did everything. She went to the pharmacy, she collected the money, she went and paid for the surgery, all that sort of thing. She was just there. And at the end of it all, Tanaj came home with me for a week to ensure that I settled in at home.
Wow.
On the hospital ward. And of course, there are a lot of other friends who did so much. A call, the flowers, somebody, the snacks, people who I worked with at RJR. How many years ago? I left RJR in 1994.
Right.
And there are sisters from RJR, Carolyn Warren, Gillian Horton, and they made sure that I had all of my snacks and all the supplies and equipment that somebody in hospital could need.
So you spent 1 month at home
Yes.
after coming out of hospital, but had to go back into hospital?
Had to go back. I went to a particular medical facility, and there was no disability access. So to go up the stairs, I had a patient and a porter take me up, and that was fine. And to come down, it was just the porter alone, and the porter never looked so sturdy. So I said, all right, let me hop down. And I hopped down perfectly to the landing. And when I turned at the landing, I stepped off on the residual limb.
Oh my God.
And
Hurt yourself?
yes, I was badly hurt. I fell.
So you ended up going back
To hospital. And I thought it was going to be something simple. So I go in the morning and they would just tape up the stitches and all of that. And she said, oh no, I need to keep you because I need to operate on you in the morning.
Are you serious?
So yes, they got me in on a holding ward, and then I had the operation, the first surgery from a holding ward, and then they sent me back, and oh, it was wonderful because I got back my original bed that we had done some interior decoration of the place to make it a little more comfortable.
Right.
Joan Andrea, they buy curtain rings and all them sort of things to match the color. And so
you really took up residence?
I took up residence, and I was there for 6 weeks. And when you're in a space like that for 6 weeks, you build friendships. There was another young lady, she was right across from me, and she's also into the food business. She does juices. So it was just the two of us, and we were there for a long period. But eventually you build relationships, and I even got to the place where somebody I knew was around the corner. So I would hop on my wheelchair and wheel around to go visit her and lift her up and give her encouragement. And of course, in a vein, so of course every morning I get up and glamorous. And so the catering staff called me pretty. And eventually it got to a place where people were saying, you can't ask Miss Pretty if she, if she know. But that was it. It was, and one of the things that I thought about, Janet, you know that I'm impatient and can be very, very rigid. And I said to myself, if I ever take this cantankerous thing, into this time of misery.
And allow it to get the better
Allow
of
it
you.
to get the better of me. No, we're not going to do that. And the one day when I really was sad and down and miserable is the morning when Irene Cara died. So, you know, everybody was playing the flash dance and all of that and the fame, you know, posting videos and so on. And I remember how I used to be able to do every single one of those moves that Irene was doing. And I couldn't do nothing. And I didn't cry, but I was really, really feeling the things inside of your stomach that say, what is this? My life is over.
But tell me though, I understand that clearly. Tell me about what you did before all of this came into your life. In other words, I know the Kathi Cooke that I know attended Montego Bay High School, went on to Carrimack,
Yes.
went on to working
Radio Jamaica.
Yes, but I remember Kathy's impact even more through the Jamaica Public Service and the fact that you were called Miss JPS.
Yes.
Montegonians, whenever they had any issues at all with the utility company, the person that they would call would be Kathi Cooke. I hear people talking about you on radio, that if you're having a problem, call Kathi Cooke.
Can I give you a joke?
Yes.
Up to December, I had a gentleman who called and he said, but you must be able to help Miss Cooke. And he sent me by WhatsApp a whole series of pictures with his light pole and the wire that was not working and so on.
But you're from Montego Bay.
I'm from Montego Bay,
You grew up in Montego Bay.
born
Tell me
at
about-
Irwin Village. Grew up, went to went to Montego Bay Infant School, went to Coronalde Avenue Primary, started high school at St. Andrew High because my mother had gone overseas to study. And as soon as she came back, I came to Montego Bay High in third form.
Okay.
Went to Montego Bay Community College, had my first job after my last A-level exam at the Western Mirror newspaper.
Oh my God. Big journalist.
Yes, but that was before all of these exciting times. And then while at Carrimack, it was really exciting because although I started as print, radio was my desire. You know, growing up, and Marie got on the radio, and my middle name is Marie, and that was my that was my thing. And then it got into news. It was more than just continuity. I wanted to do news, hard news, and I remember I wanted to be like Christiana Manpour because I was thinking, and I applied to CNN twice.
You did?
Yes, but I didn't get through. But I was in RJR, and RJR was the CNN of the West Indies,
Western Hemisphere.
the Western Hemisphere. So that was quite fine. That was quite fine for me. And then I went for a little while into public relations, worked at communication services, and JPS was my client, and they stole me.
Wow. How long you spent at JPS?
22 years.
Long.
Yes, and it started in head office. I worked in Falmouth for a little while and then came to Montego Bay to do the community relations. And when the company changed from public to private sector, we started to have a different focus in terms of the external affairs. So I wanted to make sure that we had the community development, the government affairs, all of that together. And that was my most exciting time, the external affairs, because I had a little bit of freedom to do the company's work in relation to what the needs of Western Jamaica were. It wasn't just a cut and dried PR program.
No, it definitely
you were
wasn't.
able to do what was necessary in Western at the time.
You were the go-to person.
Yes,
You
and
became the face of the Jamaica Public Service.
the face and the ears and the eye.
and the problem solver.
And the problem solver.
After you left JPS, you started doing your own thing.
My own thing.
That's when we all realized that you were
That I had other
excellent
talents,
at-
that I was
at
a baker. Yes. And that was the life joy. You know, you think that, okay, this place has been my life, and oh Lord, how am I going to, what am I going to do? How am I going to manage? And all of that. And it just worked out that, you know, after you have the little time, the free time, and you're up and down, and you travel and all of that, you come home and you want to ensure that, okay, you do something. Because I couldn't live idle. I couldn't live forever just being home and looking after plants and all of that. And the opportunity came to get this little sweet cook space. And it went on until COVID.
Yes,
And
but you also were sewing as well, right?
I was
You
sewing.
would design everything for yourself.
Yes, I still sew. In fact, you know, not having the sewing leg, I've been a little tentative. But on the weekend, my granddaughter needed a national costume overnight, and that was it.
But how did you make it though without the sewing leg?
This other leg can do things.
You know what I like most about what you do, Kathy, is the fact that you also make the loss of a leg fashionable. You make all these,
yes.
How many different colors you have?
I have a color for every outfit, and I've been blessed because I have family and friends overseas who have been supplying me with all my matching bandages.
So it's a bandage.
It is a bandage.
Oh, I thought it was a piece of cloth and you made
No,
it into...
no, it's a bandage.
So it's different color bandages.
Different color bandages.
Wow. So you have every color.
Every color.
Let me ask you a question though, Kathy.
Sure.
Because it's not easy.
It is not.
It's not easy doing what you have been able to do. How do you encourage other people to understand that, okay, there might be changes in their lives, but it does not mean the end of one's life?
All right. Part of it is, Janet, that it could not be the end of my life, because regardless of all that is happening here, and I remember that I'm my mother's caregiver. So she's taking care of me, but I still have to maintain all of that. In addition to that, we grow up learning about one of dead no call it duppy. And I am alive. I'm alive. I'm not in any pain. I can move. I tell you about when I keep a soca party, come a bed in the hospital. Yes, I did. Because I was the same dancing thing I was very concerned about. And I used to have a lot of visitors, sometimes like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people were at my hospital bed. So we're talking about the dancing and so on. And so I found I Dare You on my YouTube, and I showed them how to do it. Don't test my one, I dare you, I dare you. Destra.
I love it.
Yeah.
You know, we've been talking with Kathi Cooke of Montego Bay, Jamaica, the famous Kathi Cooke. You're watching West Side JA.
You have been watching West Side JA. We'll be right back.
All memorable moments include delicious food. Good food can transform the ordinary into extraordinary. We welcome more good times together, more memories we won't forget.
Rainforests always I make delicious moments.
It has been such a pleasure having you, Kathy. I mean, I could not have asked for a more intriguing, a more inspirational story than the one that you're telling me.
And life goes on, Janet. And
But don't we need to have more ramps, more facilities for people
That
like you? Because
is what
that's
is
I wanna
now
talk about.
my thing, Janet. And I'm not doing it, sometimes the advocacy means you have to, I know some advocate, my darling.
What are you
my
doing?
advocacy is just going to a place and being able to speak to an operations manager and saying, listen, you need to facilitate me. You need to facilitate all of us, but because I am enough, me first. And interestingly, on Wednesday, I went to Hague Show, and the people at the gate of Hague Show were just adamant that they wouldn't allow my driver to go into the grounds to drop me off, because the grounds itself is okay. I can handle my own wheelchair, but just that little entrance place, Rocky and Marley and so on, and they said no. So I saw the state minister of agriculture. He was doing his walk, and I tried to get his attention. Never pay me no mind. So I rode over to where he was visiting and decided that I would lay wait him at the door. And I said, now we are going to listen to me.
Nice. Good girl.
Yes. And he was absolutely gracious. And he said, yes, I understand that we need to be more aware. And I kept on saying to him, I said, it is the law. You all were proud to say this is the law on the 14th of February, 2022. And at that time, it didn't have that impact on me because I was running up and down. But now, the law is more important to me because it deals with my need. And so we were able to have a discussion, and they tried to make good on it. But I know that come Monday, I'm going to follow up with them to ensure that there is a space, a proper space, and it doesn't have to be any big construction. It can be temporary. And I'll tell you about my church, St. James Parish Church. They actually have a temporary ramp. It's made of wood, and it just goes over the stairs. You go, somebody pulls you up, and that is it. And when you're gone, they take it up. So it doesn't take away from the aesthetics of the old church, but a provision is made. And we need to start looking from those very, very simple points of view, to make sure that we are looking at the needs of others. I had interest in disability because, I have 2 deaf nieces in the United States.
Right.
So I've always been, what do you have to make a provision for somebody who is hard of hearing and so on. And now it has extended because it's a physical disability that now is my lot. But it can be done, and we just need to be a little more sensitive.
It's true.
We just
I'm in
need to be a
total
little
agreement.
more
Are
sensitive.
you part of any organization, that any disability
I
association or
have
anything
sent
like that?
in the letters, but I haven't had the responses yet. And it's recent because I had to wait until I was sure what was moving and so on. So the Disabilities Association is on my agenda. And of course, they have operations in Western Jamaica, but I think my enoughness and loudness will make a difference.
I have no doubts whatsoever.
Will make a difference
that your
in the
enoughness
West.
will make a difference, because guess what? These people needed a Kathi Cook. Not that you needed to have lost your leg, but I believe that in all these things that happens to one in life,
There's purpose. There is purpose. There is.
And that is it. You are going to, I'm sure you're going to make a difference.
I believe so. I do believe so. And it is what I want to do more than anything else, Janet, is just to talk to people who are going through the experience and let them know that it is not a cause to throw up your hand and give up on life. You don't have to give up on life. There are so many little things you can do. I never knew that I could balance on this one leg. When I stand in the kitchen, I'm standing on this and I'm kneeling on a stool. And I can, some things are just,
baking.
I'm baking. It just says to me that, listen, life has to go on, and life does not have to go on boring or dead or sad or depressed and so on. And every now and then I feel a little funny. I go out in the garden and I want to take a picture, but I can't reach it. It's just not possible. and so on. But guess what? I've started my prosthetic preparation.
Yes.
I've actually done 2 sessions.
You have?
Yes. So that is the measuring and the preparing of the leg for it, and it's going well. It's going very, very
But
well.
how soon after operation
It's
can you get
90 days from full healing to walking. And I've just finished, this is what, 75 days left now of my 90.
Wow.
Yes.
You have a way to go.
Yeah, but
That's
70,
what? That's
3
almost
months.
3 months?
Also,
More
no,
than
2 months, 2
2
months
months?
and a little bit, yeah,
Oh, yeah,
30
2
days,
months,
2 months and a little bit, and so on. And yesterday I went and I asked him, and the gentleman said, I know that you're vain, but you can't wear higher than a 1-inch heel. And no, when you get the prosthetic in terms of getting, because it has a foot on it, you know,
Right.
and they're going to make mine with a between the toe, the big toe and the other toe, so that I can wear those toe, you know, the thong type shoes. Yes, they're gonna fix that for me. But at least for a year, he says, no higher than 1 inch of heel. So I have to now be looking into the cute shoes, because I sacrificed all of those fabulous shoes. You remember when the vain and love shoes and run you down and beg you your shoes?
Poor girl.
Yes. But outside of that, it's just a willingness, a peace inside of me. I didn't do anything wrong to become ill.
Right.
And so it is not a punishment for me.
No,
it is a
definitely
part
not.
of life, and life has to continue, and life is so beautiful, Janet.
I'm very happy. On that note, Kathy,
Yes.
I want to say thanks.
Oh, it
Thanks
was
for
my
opening up
Yes.
and bringing us into your
little
what did I
life.
call it now?
Yeah.
Inner being, in a sense. you know,
Yes,
because I know that many people would not find it so easy to speak about what you have spoken about this morning.
And one of the things too, Janet, is that I'm happy for this, because a lot of times I see people and you see the face, they look at me and they want to
They're
cry.
feeling sorry for you.
Yeah, they're feeling sorry
don't
for
want
me.
pity.
We're not keeping a pity party. We're not doing that, because I'm alive and I'm well and I'm a foot cut off. It's not my brain or my spirit.
No.
And I know my mouth neither.
That
So,
we know.
yes. So, you know, it is something to be grateful for and to understand. And if I can help one person,
Then you're going to do that.
then I'm going to do that.
You have been watching West Side JA. I'm your host, Janet Silvera. Thank you for watching.